Greetings, fellow Americans. Welcome to Fireside Chats, State of Our Nation. I am your host, Susanna Tanner, candidate for Congress 2026 and President 2028. There is a never-ending source of stuff to talk about, isn't there? There were multiple protests across the nation on May 1st, May Day. Between 3,000 and 5,000 protests were registered across the U.S. Supporting labor and immigration workers' rights. The people speak, and we are getting louder, much louder. It's very good to see. I also had the opportunity to watch the address to Congress of by King Charles. This was a joint meeting of Congress. It was his first visit to the states as king, and there was a lot to be taken from his speech, for certain. It seems to me like he was actually addressing the American public more so than Congress. That's just it's kind of how it looked to me and how it seemed. He was very careful not to not place direct blame on anyone or anything when he was speaking. He did say that the bond between the United Kingdom and America is irreplaceable. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. We've established a very long relationship, and it has evolved over the last few hundred years. He also stated that the Magna Carta is cited in over 150 cases in the United States Supreme Court, and that it states the power is subject to checks and balances. I loved that he quoted President Lincoln, that the world may little note what we say, but will never forget what we do. How true that statement is. I appreciate the King's speech to Congress. There seems to be a little bit of reading in between the lines. There's a couple of things that really hit home and can be taken as a hidden message. We shall soon see how our relationship with the United Kingdom will progress with King Charles in charge. We also have an update on Pam Bondi. She has not appeared before Congress as subpoenaed. They could send U.S. Marshals after her and make her appear. I recall that marshals were sent to escort the Discord CEO in 2025 to a hearing on social media platforms. It's never a good thing whenever the U.S. Marshals have to come and get you and bring you before Congress. Unfortunately, Pam Bondi may end up having exactly that happen to her. Contempt of Congress is no joke, and others have been jailed for such. Peter Navarro is one of the most recent to have served a 4-month sentence in 2024 for contempt of Congress. But if legislators do not send U.S. Marshals to collect her for her appearance, it will show clear bias. Speaking of bias, the Supreme Court on the 29th decided to strike down the Voting Rights Act, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which states no voting qualifications or prerequisites to voting or standard practice or procedure shall be imposed or applied by any state or political subdivision to deny or abridge the right of any citizen of the United States to vote on account of race or color. This section of the Voting Rights Act guarantees the enactment of Section 1 of the 15th Amendment to our Constitution. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 5 was previously gutted a few years ago, which is not good. Basically, what they did to the Voting Rights Act today was basically say that, sure, the states can qualify you to vote, and they can prerequisite you to vote. They can require prerequisites. It's unconstitutional. flat out. It violates the 15th Amendment. Now, all of a sudden, there's no guarantees for American voters of color. This action by the Supreme Court of the United States should cause the people of our nation anger at the injustices this causes those of color. It is a blatant betrayal of the Constitution and our rights as a nation. Here is evidence that SCOTUS is corrupt and term limits need to be implemented. Now, about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That's been a very big topic this week. I find it uniquely coincidental that Donald Trump waits until after tax season. Caroline Leavitt says in an interview just before the White House Correspondents' Dinner that shots will be fired. Context aside, not really the best wording. Someone then did, in fact, discharge their weapon at the dinner, outside of the doors of where the dinner was being held. 30 minutes later, Trump is on the podium making a statement about the White House ballroom and promoting it like it's an ultimate safe house, where many of us believe that he wants to hide and try to remain in power. And now Lindsey Graham has introduced legislation to use taxpayer dollars to pay for it. First, no, absolutely not. There is a bunker in the White House already. They don't need that kind of building or structure anywhere else on the property. That's the reason the White House was built the way that it was built, is to withstand things like nuclear weapons, a nuclear strike in the area. They don't need that. Second, most importantly, those are our taxpayer dollars. Our money, not his money to use for what he wants, and not Congress money or even Republicans' money to do with what they want. That is our money. Our money that needs to go to our nation to support our people and not some ballroom. Building a ballroom, regardless of security, is not an appropriate nor wanted use of our money. Like many, I am against this ballroom. And I encourage everyone to send emails and correspondence to their legislators demanding that they reject this legislation. I'm pretty positive that most Democrats and reasonable independents will reject it. Under no circumstances should our taxpayer dollars, especially in the amount of $400 million, be used for such an atrocious violation of our trust. We have the right to prevent it. Call or email your senators or representatives, sign petitions, and if we have to vote out of office those who support it or who go against us, so be it. That is all I have for today. Thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.